I will remind to everybody that those projects that he wants to go forward with will not change the economy of Canada.
Pierre was waiting for his moment. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Pierre Poilievre absolutely savagely destroying Mark Carney. We see more of the same from Carney. Arrogant, smug, pompous. The guy just oozes globalist, elitist banker. We're seeing an onslaught of companies downsizing, laying off people, moving to America. Mark Carney's intentionally tanking Canada. Let's jump into this. Jumping over to House Commons, and look who decided to show up for work. It's Mark Carney.
After the Prime Minister broke his promise to, quote, negotiate a win with the Americans by July 21st, lumber tariffs have more than doubled, and job losses are piling up. Cpac is potentially laying off 300 workers in Northern Ontario. That's on top of 800 workers who are losing their jobs at Imperial Oil. TransCanada and Enbridge are building more in the United States as their headquarters move south after the Prime Minister broke his promise to build, baby, build. Yeah. Doesn't the Prime Minister realize that when he doesn't do his job, Canadians lose theirs?
Here. Mr. Speaker, our sympathies are with the families of the workers at Imperial Oil.
This guy doesn't care. Listen to his tone of voice. He doesn't give a rat's about the workers in any industry losing their jobs.
Our actions are with the workers and the management of Cpac, who are having meetings with the Minister of Industry, a variety of other government officials today to work. Our support is foursquare behind Algoma Steel, with $400 million between the federal government and the province of Ontario to build Canada strong.
So you notice he went to Algoma Steel there. Bunch of people losing their jobs, businesses suffering, and only money going to Algoma Steel. If you didn't see it in the previous video, Dennis Turcotte, managing partner of Brookfield Private Equity, used to be the president and chief executive officer from 2002 to 2008 at Algoma Steel. Is that why they're getting money? Now, a couple of the big layoffs happening here, as he just mentioned. The paper mill, well, Northern Ontario paper mill announces plans to close. The century-old paper mill Cpac will have to start idling operations due to financial troubles, likely impacting around 350 direct jobs and 2,500 indirect jobs. Huge negative impact for Northern Ontario. Why are they not getting money? That's the problem here. You can't give money to all the companies. You have to go get a deal with Donald Trump. Mark Carney is sacrificing our entire economy in the hopes of getting reelected with a majority government. This is disgusting and deplorable political maneuvering. Best economy in the G7. Yep. As Pierre mentioned, I put this on the channel a couple days ago. Imperial Oil, ExxonMobil announcing major layoffs.
As many as 1,000 people could be out of work after Calgary-based Imperial Oil announced plans to slash about 20% of its workforce by the end of 2027. Last month, Imperial reported about $11 billion in revenue, down more than $2 billion from the same quarter a year earlier.
So they see what's happening here. Mark Carney rolling out his net zero agenda, and what they're doing, the people they cut are a bunch of the engineers. It's the expensive people they have that have helped them set up these pipelines, and now they're cutting to essentially move into a phase where their costs are lower. They can replace a bunch of people with AI. And what should really be happening here is we should be having major projects announced by Mark Carney, more pipelines, and these people should be moving over onto new projects. Instead, the jobs are getting slashed. Some of these people being moved up to Edmonton, but really, these people are going to end up going and working in America. We're going to lose these workers. Is this elbows up? Are we winning yet? Canada's economy is crumbling. We have major companies laying off droves of people. Where are these people going to get jobs? Are we going to have a flood of high-skilled workers go down to America now? We're just going to lose all this talent in Canada? Don't worry, Mark Carney's 91% invested in America, so he doesn't give a rat's.
Speaker, since he took office, 86,000 more Canadians are unemployed, and we have the second highest unemployment in the G7. This is all the result of out-of-control government spending and taxes. Every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians. And now the Parliamentary Budget Officer rates his deficits as, quote, very alarming, stupefying, shocking, unsustainable. If you don't change, this is done. Something is going to break. We are at the edge of a cliff. Those are the words of the Parliamentary Budget Officer. When will he stop his out-of-control spending? When he's over the edge of the cliff?
I'm guessing Carney is highly regretting appointing that temporary parliamentary budget officer. He's got a 6-month contract. He's probably not going to get renewed.
Mr. Speaker, there's a little thing called cause and effect. And the cause that the Leader of the Opposition is missing is is the U.S. tariffs. The U.S. tariffs that are hitting steel, the U.S. tariffs that are hitting lumber, the U.S. tariffs that are hitting our auto sector. That's why we need to build this country strong. That's why we're getting spending under control. That's why we're going to spend less to invest more. I believe in this country, Mr. Speaker. Come join us.
Wow. Mark Carney stumbling over his words. He's nervous. He is nervous because he knows that his whole scam is being exposed. This guy's not doing a deal with Trump. So he pointed to the boogeyman again. Where's the deal? Should we be pointing out this one too? GM is moving production from Oshawa to Indiana. Here's what they're saying across the border. Shift cut announced for Ontario plant after 250 temporary workers were hired in Fort Wayne. More companies are downsizing or moving production to America because Mark Carney is refusing to make a deal with Donald Trump. As Ryan points out here, will Doug Ford torch a Silverado on TV today? Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Spend less? Deficit spending is up almost 100% since this prime minister took office. And as for investment, it has fallen. In fact, $50 billion of net investment has left since he took office. And yet he repeats the same promises the Liberals have been making for a decade. They said their deficits would lead to more investment. Since they took office, investment is down by 10%, the worst investment record in the G7. In fact, with $600 billion more debt under this government, investment has fallen. How much more debt would they have to add on the backs of Canadians to reverse this disastrous result?
The right honourable.
Mr. Speaker, once again, it's time for a little fiscal lesson for the Leader of the Opposition.
Ooh.
Strongest credit rating in the world, AAA, S&P, and Moody's. Lowest deficit in the G7, lowest debt level in the G7, lowest net debt to GDP in the G7. Biggest potential in the G7. This side of the House believes in Canada. Come join us.
Biggest potential in the G7? What rating is that? This guy's such a joke. Our economy shrunk last quarter. America's went up. What else do we want to look at here?
Mr. Speaker, I know that sometimes it gets heated in this place, and recently I said that this prime minister was just as irresponsible with money as Justin Trudeau, and I now realize that that was unfair to Justin Trudeau. In reality, he has increased the deficit by almost 70% above what Justin Trudeau left behind. And now the parliamentary budget officer describes this prime minister's deficits as alarming, stupefying, unstable, unsustainable. If you don't change, this is done and something is going to break. How is it even possible for this prime minister to be more fiscally incompetent than the drama teacher?
But he believes you.
I can't imagine, Mr. Speaker, I can't imagine why it gets heated in the House with language like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The former prime minister.
Look at this greaseball little smile here. He's such a smug little jerk. This guy just gave an arrogant Mr. Banker rant saying how great Canada's doing. Pierre sticks it to him, not to mention he's quoting the parliamentary budget officer. What are you going to say? That guy doesn't know what he's doing? Carney is intentionally tanking Canada, and I don't doubt that he knows how to fix the problem here. He just doesn't want to do it because it doesn't financially benefit him.
This government is conducting a comprehensive spending review. This government is building houses. This government is building projects in the national interest. This government is building Canada strong. Come join us.
Well done.
Mark Carney and his team are bragging about them setting up projects, doing this and that. Look at this new major projects office absorbing existing team already doing much of the same work. They just stuck Dawn Farrell on the top here, making $678,000, and that's the upper end of her salary estimate range, to head up a team that's already doing the work, just costing taxpayers more money. But Mark Carney has connections in the past. Moosechart.com, you can look for yourself here. Dawn Farrell right here, you can see the connections with Brookfield, these two guys, this whole thing. I have a whole video on it, which is right here if you want to check it out. But Dawn Farrell, before being appointed to this position, was sitting on the board of ATCO, modular home builder. She resigns. Mark Carney's invested in BlackRock, who owns shares in ATCO. This is not coincidence. Mark Carney is rolling out his agenda here. He wants someone who knows how the modular house system works. That's why he brought her on. She's got history with these guys from Brookfield. This is all planned. If you have more tips on this or anything else that's going on in Canada, feel free to send me a tip here that's anonymous. When it comes down to it, this was another are smoke and mirrors here. Can you imagine hiring a CEO and paying her 1.5 times your own salary? That this is supposed to be a financial genius. What a comment. Mark Carney's making, I think, $409,000. So that comment is spot on. She's getting paid upwards of $678. We don't know. But either way, she's making more than Mark Carney. We're seeing Canada tank across the country here. I mean, we've got fake conservative Tim Houston saying that Nova Scotia is doing the worst in North America.
We have the worst economy in North America. 60 out of 60 when you look at GDP per capita. So, so you look down the list, New York State, number 1, Massachusetts, number 2. The first province that shows up is Alberta, somewhere in the 15, 16, something like that. Just keep looking down the list. Mississippi, Alabama, keep looking down the list. West Virginia, keep looking down the list. At the very bottom, Nova Scotia. The worst economy as measured by GDP per capita in North America.
What's the solution? Some green hydrogen, wind turbines, more net zero bull crap. Here's a list, and the ones that are Canadians are in these orangey red color. All the blue ones are American. Yeah, this is Alberta, obviously. Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, Labrador. What do those three have in common? Oil and gas, critical minerals, mining, all the rest here from Canada at the bottom. What is it about this that liberals don't understand? We have the backbone of society here. Oil and gas, critical minerals, things that every other country want. We just have to pull them out of the ground and sell them. This is not rocket science.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised the Canadians would be able to judge him by their experience at the grocery store. Well, that experience is what is now being called struggle meals, where Canadians are now sharing tips on how they can scrounge together meals that are often of lower nutritional value because that's all they can afford. Food price inflation has accelerated to almost double the Bank of Canada's target, rising 50% faster in Canada than in the United States since this Prime Minister took office, promising the reverse. Will he finally axe the liberal taxes on groceries so that Canadians can afford to eat?
Monsieur le Président, il n'y a pas...
Mr. Speaker, there is no GST on groceries.
Number 2, we cut the carbon tax. There's no carbon tax. There's no carbon tax on farms. There's no carbon tax on grocery stores. There is no carbon tax. No, there's not. On anything under 50 kilotons. Monsieur le Président, but we see the...
What is he doing?
We know that...
Why is he speaking half French and half English? What is going on here? Even Tim Hodgson looks like he's confused.
Real wages have been growing every single month since I became Prime Minister.
Here. Well done.
Okay, we need to fact check Mark Carney here. So first off, there is tax on some things in the grocery store. Any sort of snack foods, prepared foods, rotisserie chickens, chips, single serve baked goods, chocolate bars, stumbling juice, and restaurants and takeout meals are all taxed. And Mark Carney put retaliatory tariffs on America for products that were being shipped in from America to Canada on food, which made food more expensive. He put tariffs that we had to pay on food, making life more unaffordable here. And it was only recently until Donald Trump twisted his arm again that he removed that. And on top of that, there's taxes on farmers' production, which then gets passed over to consumers at the grocery store for everything else. Apples, potatoes, you name it.
Mr. Speaker, we know the Prime Minister was doing a classic Liberal bait and switch when he told Canadians he cancelled the carbon tax. And I want to quote the food professor, Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, who put it perfectly. The carbon tax was not eliminated. Only the consumer portion was reduced to zero. The industrial carbon tax remains in place and has actually increased since April 1st. We argued numerous times that the carbon tax across the supply chains is undermining the competitiveness of our agri-food sector. Why is the Prime Minister pulling a bait and switch and taxing farmers and the food Canadians rely on?
Mr. Speaker, the industrial carbon price is essential to our credibility as a responsible energy supplier and key to gaining market access as we diversify our exports.
Are you kidding me? We could have had a deal with Germany and Japan. We have no deals. There's no argument here. This is a green grift. These guys are ripping off taxpayers.
It's driving over $57 billion of investment, enabling carbon capture projects like the Pathways Project and reinforcing Canada's leadership as a low-emission LNG producer. Mr. Speaker, this is the right...
I didn't even have to say it. This guy said it himself. It's enabling carbon capture. Who gives a crap? Capturing carbon doesn't do anything. We can't make money from that. They can make money from this, but we can't as a country.
I like like to give the Prime Minister some facts. The fact is, food prices have increased nearly 40% since these Liberals were elected 10 years ago. I saw it at the grocery store this weekend. Pork shoulder was up 37%. My coffee was up 25%. A little package of lunch meat was almost $10. The Prime Minister said he would be judged by food prices. Food Banks Canada has now said a quarter of Canadians are struggling to put food on the table. That should never be the reality in this country. Will the Prime Minister do the right thing, support the Conservative motion, and scrap his taxes on farmers and the food Canadians rely on?
The Honourable
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are well aware of who has their backs, and that's why they chose this Liberal government in the last election, because...
No, you guys tricked Canadians. You fearmongered, used dirty tactics from the authoritarian handbook.
For the last 10 years, they've watched Conservatives vote against all of their interests, Mr. Speaker, whether it was for programs for kids, programs for seniors, training for tradespeople, investments in agriculture. These Conservatives vote against it. I hope by the nature of that question, though, that they won't vote against the tax cut for 22 million Canadians. That's how they help Canadians, by standing with them.
Oh, this is so weak. These guys have their childcare program, which barely anyone can get into. Very few spots. The people who do get in, it's good for them, but everyone else has to pay for this, including the mothers with children who need childcare. Instead, we should make Canada cheaper to live in, so everyone gets the same value. You know things are bad when you've got the leader of the bloc here blasting Mark Carney. In this clip, Blanchette calling him out, saying he has not stood up to Donald Trump.
That I must add that the federal government has surrendered everything. Anybody can check. Counter tariffs, frontiers, defense, taxes on the giants of the web, and now opening to some negotiations, which of course are not good for Quebecers and Canadians. And Mr. Carney, who has been elected, saying, I'm the new hero. I'll come from the sky with a cape. I will start negotiation 1 week before the election. I will fix the tariffs, and I will start a negotiation for a new trade agreement. 6 months later, we have seen nothing of it. Nothing of it. And I will remind to everybody that those projects that he wants to go forward with against the rules and the provinces and Quebec will not change the economy of Canada before years after Mr. Trump is no more president of the United States. So some questions have to start being asked quite seriously.
Some questions do need to be asked seriously. I think this is a fair comment here. I think maybe a lot of people were falling for wishful thinking. Liberal inertia was strong. There was plenty of reason to believe that the Liberal Party wasn't going to get the country out of the mess the Liberal Party put them in. But if you're a Liberal, unfortunately, you need to get burned by your own party a number of times before you're able to overcome the party affiliation and opt for real change. Is Liberals are just being so loyal to a party that is destroying their own lives and all of our lives. We have to have more intelligent thinking in this country. There's just too many people that are easily brainwashed and just not thinking with any sort of logic or reason. If the budget is presented and the opposition votes the budget down, then a non-confidence vote can happen. We will wait to see what happens when the budget is tabled. So somebody has to support this budget or there's going to be an election. That's the truth of it. Is Blanchette going to support it after what he just said here? I don't think so. I mean, he already said he's not going to support it. The NDP, are they going to support this? I mean, they need to get a new leader in. Maybe they'll use that card to push Carney forward, but they need to detach their wagon from the Liberal horse here. So they can't vote for it. The Conservatives not going to vote for it. Elizabeth May is only Elizabeth May. So what is going to happen here?